Hey, friends. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out how to translate this. I really don't have a lot of the data, but I just feel it's important to kind of share my notes so that you all can see the connection that I have here. And I'm not going to think that it's my mind making this up because I just don't think this way. So I have my tablet in front of me. And the Space Force of the United States. There's this logo, and what I thought was fascinating about the logo was that, actually, let me see. You see how this is facing upright? When there was, I hate typing this. So I thought there was a star. Satan's star. It's funny how nothing's coming up. Okay, let's try this again. All right, so that was strange. So you see how this star has the arrow going down, and then you go back to the tab I had earlier, Space Force, going up. So I was looking at that and I'm like, interesting. So another thing that I thought of was that, okay, so Space Force is coming to California. Well, they're talking about it. It says Palmdale to be the headquarters of, and that's probably 45 minutes to an hour away from where I live. But they announced this. And I was thinking, oh, okay, well, that's cool. Space Force, you don't want to think SpaceX or NASA. This is like its own private agent sector. And only Trump administration knows the operations of this. No one else knows this. You might be seeing a lot of Air Force activity in the air and training of the different aircraft in the air. So, yeah. So, the jumping subjects. There's this Imam Mahdi. And the Imam Mahdi is in the Shia Islam belief. And basically, it means that there's a sign that's hidden. And it says also that the sign will be born and who will one day return alongside of Jesus to fulfill the world justice. And we have this justice movement now in the United States, or I guess you could say the world. This no justice, no peace, blah, blah, blah. But it makes no sense why everyone is fighting each other when these things are just made up by man, right? So I just think of this Quran and judgment of this judgment to rid of the evil. And that's just basically what the Islam tradition talks about in a nutshell. Now, you guys don't have to understand it. Hi.
Isa, Yara, can you get me some water, please? I'm about to start a webinar.
So I'm on YouTube. And so there's this great video that I found, and I'll put it in my description box below if you guys are interested. Compare and contrast.
What is the meaning of the word Mahdi? And who is the Mahdi? The Mahdi is not his name, it is his title.
It's his title. So I think
His proper name, it is a title.
a title is a duty, right?
And it comes from the root Huda or Hada, which means to guide, the opposite of Dalala.
So I'll just play a little bit of
The
this.
one who is guided, and also the one who will guide others. What is his name? The Prophet ﷺ said, if there were only one day left of this world before the day of judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would make
I'm
that
trying to
day
enlarge
long,
this.
stretch it out until Allah sends a person from my progeny.
So Allah would be the creator, right? Creation of all.
His name shall be my name, and his father's name shall be my father's name. Therefore, the name of the Mahdi will be Muhammad, and his father's name will be Abdullah. So the Mahdi will be Muhammad ibn Abdullah.
Muhammad ibn Abdullah.
The army was coming. They hid the well of Zamzam, and they buried all of their gold and all of the money that they had. They buried it there because they didn't want the.
So this talks about the buried treasure in all the earth that can't be found. And that kind of tells you an indication that there was something that was here to begin with. Sorry for the noise in the background. Is it a coincidence? No. So I think of this Black Lives Movement. Black is king, Beyonce, black and black and black. Has a lot to do with this culture. This culture, they're black as well. But everything's been rooted into African American and African slaves and black slaves of America. It's been a constant message to overrule people looking for the truth. Like, we see the truth, and the truth is the territory of the true Garden of Eden, the territory of the tree of life, the territory that God called the promised land. So we focus too much on no justice, no peace. It takes you away from the ancients or even the origins of the beginning. Like, there's no reason why we should be fighting each other. This isn't black versus white. If so, it would be King Caesar versus Jesus. Caesar was he was Greek, wasn't he? Roman. Caesar was Roman. Anyway, he was white.
So
here we go.
3 princes will fight over it inside of the haram. There shall occur battle.
So 3 princes. You have the Jesuit, which is the Catholic background. You have the Zionist, which is the Jewish background. Then you have the Masonry, which is the world background.
There inside of the haram. And the Prophet said, none of them shall win. They're not going to find this, and none of them will win over the other 2. Then he said, there shall come black flags from the east. And
so these black flags from the east, I think United States, it comes from Washington, D.C., which is east of this nation. It is the East Coast. So these black flags, false flags, are orchestrated from the east. Or if you think our Confederacy from years ago, that was all in the east, the 13 Confederate states. 13. You guys seeing the big picture here? So I'm translating the code.
then a war shall ensue between the Muslims, that the severity of the war. No ummah has ever undergone such a severe war. So he's saying black flags will come from the east, meaning the lands of Khurasan. Another narration in the Muslim Ahmad.
So you can also think Middle East is also a bigger scale picture. So now you have 2 different layers. You have within each country, and then you have from the territory of the world. I'm going to skip ahead.
Give him the bay'ah, even if you have to crawl on snow to get there. And this hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said that I saw in a dream something very strange. Hadith is in Bukhari and Muslim. A group of people of my ummah, meaning Muslims, a group of Muslims will intend to attack the Kaaba. Very strange. An army will intend to attack the Kaaba. Why? Because a man from my descendants, from the Quraysh, has sought refuge in it. He has turned to the Kaaba, he has sought refuge in it, and he was running away from this army. So
Joe Biden. You guys get where I'm coming from, right? So it's very fascinating how then this talks about how everything would change from dollars and banks to silver and gold. There will only be silver and gold as currency. Everything would return back to its natural origin, livestock, trade, barter system. So I'll leave that video in the description box below. But I feel like this Space Force is what is the usher of this Imam Mahdi. There's such a parallel because in order to prevent us from a very horrible war or to prevent us of having corruption of our economy here in the United States. I only speak for United States because I don't know what's going on in the other portions. Australia is going through a really hard time. So you're going to need something on a grand scale intervention from a divine source, from a higher source, to come in and intervene. And that's why I think Space Force is very significant. And how do you translate that? Well, how do you translate something of a prophesied background from years ago? How does that fit into our 3D consciousness right now? You build a facility, you call it a Space Force as a cover up, and it'll have its own free agent to roam wherever it can and save the world. So I'll leave you guys to that and let me know what you think. I know it's really far fetched, but my intuitive is back. My sense of wisdom is finally back because it had a little break when all this COVID-19, all this stuff was happening. So it's fascinating how when things tune out of spirit or tune into a whole nother perspective, our gifts and our discernment goes into those areas. So now that there's a little break from that, we can now use our own gift of compassion, empathy, and discernment to really see these things right now before the next situation comes up. Anyways, you guys have a wonderful day. I'll see you in the next video.